Hello YouTube, I'm EasyB Edmund. Thanks for watching EasyB Moto. If you enjoy any of my videos and you want to subscribe, or if you want to help me out, support me, please subscribe to the channel, share the videos. I have about 2,000 views on one of the videos, but only 99 or 90 subscribers. So this is a new channel. I'm hoping to grow it. I want to share my motorcycle journey. I also have another big passion, firearms, so check out EasyB Tactical on YouTube. But anyway, I recently completed a BDR X, a small BDR, which is Backcountry Discovery Route, if you don't know. I did the one in Big Bend, Texas, because it's the closest to me. New into motorcycle riding, I learned how to ride back in March 2024. But I did buy 890 Adventure Standard. So I thought I would put a video together about what gear I use on my first BDR. Again, I'm not a professional. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I don't consider myself an expert rider because I have so much to learn. But I'm a little bit confident on what I'm trying to do. So I go by my own ways, right? So this video is for a newcomer into the adventure style and just to share what I use on my BDR. Some things that I took, something that I used, something that I took and didn't use. But let's go ahead and get started. The bike itself, I'll make another video about it. It's a 2022 KTM 890 Adventure. I really like this bike. I bought it just randomly. I was looking for a 790, but this one was available and it was a good deal. So more to come on the bike. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on big brand items. I was curious to try saddle bags, one bag on each side. So I went on Amazon and I bought a set of Rhino Walk, 28 liters, so 14 liters a side. And I decided to give it a try. I know you buy what you pay, you get what you pay for, but those were pretty good except for a couple of things that happened during the trip. So I was running the Rhino Walk and I'm going to show you the contents and what I took. But before we get further into the bike, let's talk about the gear. I have this Ducati, so these are Rai XD4. I bought it used. This helmet I bought used when I was just bringing new into adventure. I'd spent so much money on the motorcycle and the other stuff. I bought this used. It's been falling apart on me, but it's been a great helmet. So I took this helmet because that's the one I have. I have this little mount for the DJI Osmo Action 4 camera. I used to use a lot of GoPro, so this is me new into the DJI. I use drones a lot, so I've always had DJI drone. Anyway, my helmet, this has a built-in cardo system that I use when I communicate and ride with my son. In this case, on the trip, I was listening to music, but most of the time I wasn't even listening to music because I was so excited and just watching and listening to all the sound of the nature. No particular order. I ordered a pair of riding socks. These are Noru cheap socks. They were like $4, $3.99. I loved it. It was my first time to wear motorcycle riding socks. This is actually my son's socks, but we have the same pair because I did order two. And I love these. Very good. Makes your feet very comfortable on the boots. My boots, I had just bought these boots. These are Alpine Star Tech 7 Pro, I believe. These are more motocross boots. I did buy those because I'm also dabbling into dirt bike to build my skills. And I didn't have motocross boots, so I've been chewing up my adventure ride trying to kickstart this two-stroke that I ride a lot. So I bought this Tech 7, but I took them on the trip to break them in, but they were brand new. I literally had them like a week before I left. So I took them and they were pretty good. I even hiked with those, so that's another story. What did I wear? Like I said, new into the game. So I have those Noru pants. Again, I'm not affiliated by anyone. I bought this cheap, they were very cheap. Noru riding pants with knee pads. I took these pants. I have this, right before I left, I bought this Revit armor suit with a back protector and chest protector and all that. Most of the time I wore the pants and just a light jersey on top. I did have a base layer, a single long sleeve base layer. So I wore my pants, the base layer, long sleeve, of course underwear, this armor suit, and then this. But right before I left, I just bought my first nice adventure jacket, which is this Alpine Star. I want to say it's V3 Drive, V3A, something like that. I forgot the name, but Let me give you the name. Alpine Star Endless Air Dry Star jacket. I love this jacket. I had just received it literally 2 days before my trip. So I threw it in the car, but I wore the inner sleeve here a lot. This was what I wore in my tent at night or hanging out around the campfires and all that, but I separated from the jacket. I must say I only wore this jacket one day during the trip when it was cooler because I was trying to test it. This is a mesh jacket, so it's breathable. It's not really meant for the winter. In the desert, in the Big Bend area, it was cold at night, very cold, and cold in the morning, but around, give it an hour riding and then the sun will come up and it was warm. So I wore this one a lot more. I'll talk more about the jacket some other day. Very important. I ended up using these gloves. These are mechanics firm grip glove. Why? Well, just to give you a bit of background, I had to come back right away. I only took 3 days or 3.5 days. So I towed my bike, I trailered my motorcycle to Terlingua, Texas, and then I base camped there. So I rented a campsite in Terlingua, and then I went back up to Alpine, and then I started doing the loop a little bit, and I did almost all the off-road. So I did the national park 1.5 day and the ranch side the next day. I did not do the touristic Marfa, things like that, but I did pretty much everything else. I was so excited to go. I took my regular riding gloves, which are Alpine Star something something. They're not adventure gloves. Again, those are the first pair of gloves I bought after buying a motorcycle. I left them on my toolbox as I was packing the motorcycle. So long story short, when I got there, I didn't have my riding gloves. Luckily, I had packed a pair of spare gloves. And these are the gloves that I used the whole trip. They ended up saving me. I said I have two pair of gloves. So my backup gloves ended up saving me because I had no gloves. So this firm grip, I was very impressed. That's what I used the whole time. I think that covers up in terms of clothing. So let's switch to the rest of the things. I'm going to talk motorcycle again. So for navigation, I primarily use my Android phone with a navigation app called DMD2. It's a cool app. They make their own tablet navigation. I wanted to test that, so that was my first time really using that. I did buy the paid version, and I was running my map through that. I also have the Onyx app for free and the Gaia app. So I use an Android phone mounted on quad lock. I use quad locks on all the 2 phones that I have. And then I had my iPhone for photography and as a backup. I did not have a satellite device. I'm no expert. I didn't have one. I don't have a Garmin SOS device. I thought about buying one. It was like $400 or something. I'm not telling you to do what I did. My mindset was, if something should happen, I'll have to just try to find a way to deal with it. However, on the iPhone, I think this is a 15 Pro, I just found out a couple of weeks before my departure, with the new iOS update, they have satellite-enabled SOS. So I made sure my firmware, my iOS was up to date, and I was banking on that. Did I test it before I go? No. Did I ever see, I watched a video on how it works. I never saw it on my phone. But I tell you what, in the middle of nowhere, because in a lot of areas at BDRX in Big Bend or the desert or elsewhere, there's no cell phone signal, there's no data signal. And what works are those communicating SOS, satellite-based communication devices. Interesting enough, when I found myself in those areas, the icons from my iPhone, they will switch to satellite, and there was some kind of message saying you can send an emergency SOS signal. So I think this will have worked had I needed it. But again, a lot of people told me, don't go alone, don't go without a communicator and all that. I was alone. I forgot to mention that. I took the trip alone. I wanted to go with some folks, but a few people I ride with went 3 weeks before, and I was working, I couldn't go. But I'm also doing this motorcycle riding pretty much by myself, meaning when I ride a bike, I'm alone on the bike. So I'm hoping that if I'm riding a motorcycle, I need to rely on myself, number one, before I rely on someone else. That's just my way to operate. Anyway, being alone didn't keep me from going, and I went and I had a great time. But do it at your own risk. I'm not saying that's the wise approach. I have a family, I have children. Something could have gone wrong, yes, but a bunch of things can go wrong, and a bunch of things have gone wrong in my life. You just have to, I feel like I just have to deal with it anyway. Anyway, so navigation, primary, backup, phone, pictures. Took a lot of pictures. I like photography, so a lot of stuff I carried was that trip. I never been to Big Bend. I always wanted to go a long time ago for photography, so I took a lot of stuff that I partially used. So let's get into that. So I used the Rhino Walk system. It's dirty right now, even though I washed it. I went on another quick drive the other day, camping trip. So 2 bags, right? One left side, one right side. I'm gonna talk about what I had and show you, but I'm gonna say where they were. So I tried to keep the weight of the motorcycle balanced. So on the exhaust side, it was my lightest bag. On the other side, it was the heaviest bag. But what I did was I had all my camping equipment on the left side because that was the heaviest thing. I had my clothing and any emergency first aid stuff on the right side with some of the camping stuff. So the heaviest bag was on the left side. The lightest bag was on the right side to compensate based on the weight of the weight on the muffler, the exhaust, plus also the weight of the tools. My tools on my KTM, I carry a lot of tools. They are actually in the side pockets there. I'll show you a couple of photos or videos sometimes. But anyway, let's get into what was in those bags. In those bags I had my tent. This is a tent that I actually bought online on Amazon. I was trying to find something somewhat lighter, smaller. It's not your most expensive tent. It's not the nicest tent for hiking and all that. So it could be smaller, they could be lighter, more compact. But this was good enough for me. And it's not too big. So this is a 2-person tent, by the way. Simple tent with a little canopy for the rain. Nothing really fancy, but works very well. Sleeping bag. This is a sleeping bag that I ended up using when I was sleeping on that tent, but I guess my tent side did have a tent bag. One thing, this is a summer warm weather 50-degree Miami sleeping bag. So at nighttime I did get cold a little bit, but I had a spare blanket and I had my socks, and one night I even ended up sleeping in my pants, my motorcycle pants, because I was very cold. So lessons learned. I did buy since then a liner to put inside the sleeping bag. So I'm gonna try to keep this sleeping bag, but just put a liner to bring some more warmth inside the bag. So I did have plastic bag because I use those for trash management when I'm riding the bike. I had my snack and my apples, my fruits. I keep everything on a plastic bag. Wet clothes, dirty clothes, just a plastic bag can help you with a lot of things. So I always carry a couple of plastic bags. This was my inflatable mattress. I did buy that from Amazon as well. Just tried to make the sleeping bag a little more comfortable. No big deal there. Not too big, not the fanciest, but it works very well. I did buy this little pump. This was very cool because I went on a motor camping trip one night, right before that, and one of the buddies there was riding a big Pan America. You know who you are, Chris. He had a very cool, tiny super pump. I really like that, so I bought something similar, but not as cool as his, but cheaper. This is to inflate the mattress, the sleeping pad, and anything else that needs to be inflated. USB chargeable, several plugs for your different balloons, mattress, and other inflatables. I did have this little bag, clothing bag, so I put my clothes here, and I just bought this at Walmart. One blue, one green, one medium, large, small, basically, and I would just spare like dirty underwear, sleepwear, toiletries. You could use them however way you want. They're waterproof once you fold them and then you tie them. So I did have this with me and I use them every day. And then I had an emergency blanket. So this was in the side bag. I keep this emergency blanket with my tent. I did not have this bag. I just use this bag to carry things together for the video. On the same camping site, I did buy a tarp. This was to put on the ground, to put my tent on top of it in case it's wet. But you could use a tarp for multiple purposes. Signaling, The emergency blanket will work a little bit better if you want an aircraft signal or whatever, but you could use this to wrap things up or just add additional insulation from the ground to the tent or anything else. So I have a top. I didn't end up using the top actually. I did not use it. I just used it on another camping trip. Otherwise it was actually still in a bag wrapped up. So that was my sleepwear. I did have a beanie hat, but this was actually my backpack, so I'll come back to this later. But what I don't have here was my bag. I did have a little igloo cooler bag for food. The reason I brought that bag is because I had a base camp. I trailered my motorcycle to Terlingua, which is 9.5 hours from where I live here in Texas. So that cooler bag was the food during my road trip, the food at some of the night at the campsite. Otherwise, it just sat there with the car. Usually, I wouldn't have a cooler bag like that. I mean, by cooler bag, I mean it's really a square bag that acts as a cooler. I'm not saying my bag was super cool. But besides that bag, this is what I use for my food, cooking. I did buy this on Amazon before I left. It's just your standard, you've seen many model. It's a little cooking pot with, I forgot the fancy name for this. It's just a little fire stove with a cooking pot and a little cooking pan and a stand to mount the canister. This you have to buy, of course, at a regular store because it's propane tank, the butane propane mix. So I did buy this at a local hardware store, but it has a place inside. And then you have your burner, you have a fork, spoon, and a knife. So these were my utensils. The burner, and it all goes on the lid. It also came with a mug, but the mug doesn't fit in there once you put the propane mix in there. So this is where I cook my food in. What food did I eat? Ramen noodles. I bought some pre-pack rice-a-roni, those rice mixes. I did not end up eating those. I had some tuna packs. So I like tuna fish, and so I had some rice-a-roni, a couple of those tuna packs, ramen noodles. I did eat the ramen noodles. A lot of fruits. So I bought some apples and bananas, and I ate those mostly. I had some mixed nuts, like those snacks, mixed nuts for snack. And I had a couple of yogurt because when I left, I froze the yogurt and it was cold. I would just leave the bag outside during the day by my maker. Oh, this is the cup that comes with this kit. This is a headlamp. I did not have this headlamp, but I had a similar headlamp. This is a new one I bought since then, but think about it. I use my old headlamp from when I work on my car, which was a Craftsman headlamp. I have this little pouch just for organization. I didn't use it much. I also had, this completes the cooking items. The other tenting accessories I had were these ones. So this is more of a camping emergency equipment, little plastic bag that I have. Chem Light glow sticks for some. A couple of additional hydration mixture powder you put in your water to get some, how do you call that? A little bit of sugar in your body and anyway, on some salt. Paracord with a stick to light a fire stick. It's all coming with this little packaging that allows you to cut the paracord and stuff like that. What else? No tie shoelaces, so these are backup shoelaces, but you can use them for tying several things. Maybe worst case scenario to stop the bleeding, but I wasn't planning on cutting a limb yet. But a couple of things to start a fire. What else does this have? A tiny survival guide. If you want to know some basic procedures, and more hydration packs. I really did not open this one the whole trip because I never got to that dicey moment. This would have been for like, okay, the bike broke down, everything blows up, I'm stuck in the middle of the desert, my tent was lost. When things go really bad, I start reaching for things like this. But I didn't need that. I did buy a pack of cheap neck gaiter. It came with a pack of 5. They're very cheap. I mean, I watched them one time and the color just went away. But I loved it. This saved me because this thing that I found, again, one of those Chinese websites, it's a multi-purpose. So what it is you just put it around your neck. That becomes a neck warmer and then carry. So I use it a lot like this because when I was riding in the morning, it was so cold. I protect my neck. I get very warm, but my extremities and my neck can get really cold. You can use it as a beanie like this. This is my #1 configuration too because of the dust. When I was riding in the old road, the desert and all the desert, I'll put that up to filter the dust. If you don't have a beanie, if I remember correctly, you can put it on your head, twist the top a little bit. I'm doing it fast, so it's not that fancy. Twist the top a little bit tight, and then fold it, and it becomes like a beanie hat. I'm not doing it perfectly because I don't want the video to be too long. But anyway, multi-purposes. So I liked it. I love this. It came in a pack of 5. I used one of them. This is not the one I used, but I did have some wipes, flushable wipes. I did have mosquito spray. I always carry this. It was in my camping thing. I did not end up needing it. I always have a bag of hand sanitizer. I also had another one on my backpack on me. I have this here too. I'm gonna take a pause here. You know, sometimes you buy these little gadgets for years, or you have these little subscription box. I used to love the bespoke boxes. I don't have those subscription stuff anymore. However, the point is, these are things that I received a long time ago, like 3-4 years ago. These had a little needle plier, well, not a little plier, how you call that? A tool to remove little needles or wood splinter remover. This has a tiny little pocket where you can put stashes of cash, in this case a lighter, and a bottle opener, little screwdriver, Phillips and flathead, things like that. So anytime I have a new hobby, a new passion that I start, or a trip that I'm going to take, I look around my office on my boxes and see, is there something I haven't used in a while that I should be using? And that was one of them. So I took this as an opportunity to use it and have it with me. Did I end up using it? No. But the point is, I try to use what I have, and if I find anything dormant, I switch them. So that was it. So that's complete. The food stuff plus the sanitary health related products. Let's see, what else did I have? This was on my back. This was a big piece of equipment. I had it on my back the whole time. This is a camelback I've had for maybe 12 years. I'm not kidding. I've had this for many years. It's a 2-liter camelback. But I tell you what, the biggest thing as I was getting ready for the trip, say fuel and water. Fuel. Take fuel every time you find a gas station, blah, blah, blah. Don't run out of fuel. I was so obsessed with running out of fuel and water. So I had a bunch of water bottles because I bought those pack of 24 bottles of water. I had my camel pack. I filled up my bag with water bottles the morning I started my ride. I always have a spare water bottle on my little bag in the motorcycle. In this backpack, I had a spare shirt, a protection device. I had paper towels, I think. I had, what else did I have? I don't remember. But you know, I had this little, the set of tool that I just showed you was in there. I had a pouch, this pouch right here. I use this free pouch to carry 3 battery pack power banks because I have a lot of gadgets, just the camera, the DJI camera, my phone. I had the battery pack in there. I also wanted to organize all my USB cables. So this little pack here, this little pouch was what I used to carry and organize USB cable and battery pack power banks. So, and I also have a 12-volt USB charger which was connected to the motorcycle most of the time. In the backpack I have a little tire gauge, cheap one from marketing. I had chapstick, more USB cord, earplugs. These are earplugs container, and I just bought a box of earplugs from a pharmacy somewhere before I left. I didn't end up using the earplugs a lot because I wanted to listen to everything, but I did put them on a few times when I was doing a long run in the back off roads, especially the highways. See? I think my snacks, I had snacks in there. My first aid kit, backpack. I had the first aid kit, which I bought. I had bought a nice set of first aid kit, and I don't know where I lost it. But anyway, I bought another one before this trip. It was in the backpack. I would make my fruits, my bananas, my snack mix. I'll put them in the backpack. Oh, my beanie hat was actually in the backpack too. The biggest thing I had was this. I had a solar-powered battery bank cell phone charger with multiple cord. This was very useful. I bought this from Amazon and I lost it on one of the trails. So this is a replacement that I bought since then. I love this thing. Solar charger. So what I did was I had it tethered and tied up to the motorcycle, and I was driving around, and I laid the bike once. At some point I lost it and I tried to retrace my step. I couldn't find it, but I replaced it. This was very useful because at nighttime it would charge my cell phone and all. And funny thing, I didn't even use it. I did not end up using my other power bank so much because I bought this right before the trip, and it was great to have it. Okay, the other thing I tried was this. This is a running pouch. So it's meant for runner to carry on their person, and it's got another cord that helps you. So it come up this way. But because I don't have a tank bag, I don't really like tank bags. But I tell you what, one thing I learned is when you do those long trips, those BDR type trips, a tank bag would have been amazing. So I didn't have a tank bag. I didn't want to buy a tank bag. I thought about buying a tank bag, but I didn't end up buying one because I wasn't sure I should spend the money just for the trip and what. I took this because I got it in one of those boxes. Also, again, another thing I never used, but this helped me a lot. This is where I carried my microfiber to wipe my glasses and my goggles and everything else. This is why I carry my other earplug. Every time I would get a map, this is why I carry the paper maps. This is why I carry tissues. This is why I carried my wallet. This is why I carried basically any key pieces. And I wish I had a tank bag because when I was charging my phone and all that, it would have just sat on the tank bag and I would have run the USB cord. And it was a struggle. You go to the gate of a park or you get a check or stop, and then they hand you a map and the paper, you buy your receipt or whatever. Trying to shove that into things. If you have a tank bag, I can see the appeal there. Makes it very easy. But anyway, I use this because I had this. I like to not buy too many things, and I'll force myself to use everything I have already. Unless it's very purpose niched, unless there's a very special purpose and there's no replacement. But that was the gear. I want to cover that. We'll conclude the video. Things that I did not end up using. I was so stressed out about running out of fuel. I bought this Roto Pack tank from Nice CNC. This frustrated me because it came the night before I left. Literally the last package I received. So I didn't have time to install it. I just put fuel in it. I was going to mount it on my motorcycle while I was there. I could not figure out how to mount it on my nice CNC plate just because the mount portion did not fit the way I wanted to install it, but that's a story for another day. So I still haven't mounted this. I filled it up with fuel before as I was driving there, never ended up using it. But what I had with me was a spare. I did buy a fuel bottle. I was going to buy two. I bought one, again, cheap one from those Chinese websites we all know. And I did buy a bottle bag from Amazon to put this bottle in. As you can see, there was some action on the trip. I did end up using the fuel in this bottle just the other day when my son ran out of fuel on his dirt bike. So I never ran out of fuel in Big Bend BDRX because I fill up at every station. The KTM 890 has a good size tank. And I was so obsessed, I would fill up all the time. I mean, I rode for 10 minutes. If I see a station, I'll fill it up again. So I never let it run out of fuel. But however, What I did was I tied this bag on the left side of the bikes. So this bag was tied up in this pouch of the Rhino Walk. So if you look at the Rhino Walk this way, I had a water bottle, a fuel bottle dangling at the bottom. I posted this on my video of the BDRX. At one point, the strap on the Rhino Walk broke and the bag was dangling on one side. When that happened, this bottle in its pouch got loose and swung onto my rear wheel. It got caught on top of the rear wheel and it was rubbing against the wheel, the tire, and the top of the bag. That's why the bottle pouch got burned up and the bottle got scratched there. But luckily I heard and I just felt the bike slowing down. So I immediately stopped. It was in the middle of nowhere in one of those backcountry road and I had to deal with it. I must say though, I was very disappointed when the bag broke because I did not do anything crazy. I was just riding. I know it's a very rocky section, but I didn't feel like it was that challenging for the bike to break. I made a quick photo of it. When I came home, I emailed Rhino Walk and they immediately asked me, what's your address? They sent me the same set of bag as a replacement. I was very surprised by that. So that's why we are running on the KLR. I did keep those bags so that now we have the same setup on the KLR and on the KTM 890. I'm gonna fix the strap and try to jerry rig it with some carabiner. But these are the things. This is what I did not have used, but I would not go there without a spare fuel tank for sure. I almost bought a bladder, but that was expensive for the quantity, the capacity I wanted. What else did I have? I think that's it. The other thing that I brought that I barely use is because I did have a car and I trailered the bike to a dedicated base camp. I did bring my big drone, which is a DJI Phantom. It has this big case. I only used that a couple of days because the drone, my drone is an older drone. The tracking was not that great, and I wasn't planning on using it every day. I wanted to cover a couple of area of footage, which I did, but then he stayed in the car. It was my first time taking my motorcycle on a long trip. It was my first time spending more than 2 days and relying only on the bike. Next time, what could I have done different? I would have maybe challenged myself and ride there. That makes a long day because it's 9.5 hours just to go to the first section from where I live. I would make sure I don't forget my gloves. I would probably pack less food because I did not end up eating a lot of that food. I was just so excited though. I had one meal a day because I was just so excited. I would just ride and ride and ride and ride. And I would just eat a lot of bananas, a lot of apples. I didn't sit down too much to eat, only in the evening. Morning, I made coffee only twice. Usually I like to drink coffee. So the adrenaline, the excitement, I would just wake up 5 a.m., drink coffee if I could, or water, grab a yogurt, start riding. So depending on where you are and what you like to. If I go to 5-6 days, I will have the same setup, but I think for 3 days, it was a few things I didn't end up using. The gear, at nighttime I was cold. Maybe I need to get warmer gear. I didn't need that on that trip. When did I go? I went at the end of November, right the last week, during the week of Thanksgiving, that's where I went. I think it's not too cold enough, and it's definitely not too hot because you don't want to go to Big Bend during the summertime. I think I covered pretty much everything. Please help me grow this channel, share the video, post the comments. Have you done a BDRX? Which one have you done? What do you think from those gear that you will definitely use and what would you not use? And do you have a recommendation for better gloves for adventure? Do you have a recommendation for helmet? Because I need to replace that helmet. I have one in order, but it's taking 2-3 months now. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe and thanks for watching.